we worked with producer Mark Ronson, who was very keen to bring back some of those elements. He said that there are things that you do better than anyone else, and I want those to be in this album. And he did a very good job of focusing us on those things, on the dance beats and the sequence, the electronic sequences and the rock guitars that were very present in our first few albums.
And he's a big fan of yours, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah. He has been since he was a kid. And
Yeah.
that was actually very helpful, because he'd sort of be saying, you know that track that was on the B-side of that single? Well, the middle section of that, I really like the way the bass and drums work. Can we do that?
That's hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah, no, he is. But he is in everything he does. I mean, Mark
Yeah.
is chic, stylish, funny, bright, sharp, but he's also a complete geek. And he really... He obsessives over details, which we related to very much.
So he obviously understood what you were trying to do with the album.
Yeah, and well, he had a real vision for it. I mean, we've worked with a lot of different producers, and it's always interesting to see the ways that people work. I mean, the last album we worked with Timbaland and Justin Timberlake,
Yeah.
and it couldn't have been more different than working with Mark. I mean, they like to do things incredibly quickly. I mean, they're both obviously very talented, but you start writing the song in the day and you're finished by about 4 a.m. with the vocal, the lyric, everything just done, and you've got what you get, whatever you have when you're finished. Whereas with Mark, he works much more like we have worked in the past, where you work on something until you are absolutely 100% satisfied that it's the best it can possibly be, and you throw away a lot of stuff, and you find the best things, and you set the bar really high, and then try to get all the songs up to that bar.
I think I read somewhere that you were quoted as saying that using Mark Ronson to produce it was kind of revitalizing the band a little bit, because you've been together over 30 years now.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, it's always good to have someone in there who you trust, who has great taste and musical ability, both of which Mark has. And that way there's a voice of reason from outside of the band. We can produce our own records whenever we like, but having someone else who really has a vision and an opinion is it's fresh air. It's inspirational, and it makes you do things that you wouldn't do. It takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I suppose being in a band is like being in a marriage, isn't it? You've got to keep it fresh.
Yeah, it's more like polygamy, though, really.
Yeah. I've got to say, you guys are looking hot as well.
Oh, it's very kind of you to say so, but what are you looking at? A picture from sort of 1987 or something? I
mean, obviously Simon's got a beard now as well. He's looking good.
That's his fault, not mine.
His fault. We've got, obviously, for us being at Gaydar, we've got many bears and bear admirers who listen to us, sharing a real liking for that hairy face look that Simon's got going on.
Yeah, it seems to be quite popular, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody else brought this up, that Christian Bale had one and at the Oscars, and that, yes, I suppose there's a few of them out there. I'm keeping my clean-shaven look.
As a kid growing up, was a gay kid growing up, Duran Duran and lots of other bands around that time, the early 80s, were like my best friends, really. It sounds quite naff, but it's almost like it was good to be different.
Yeah, well, we always had a pretty good relationship with the gay community, I think, because people realised early on that we were completely sympathetic to anybody's orientation.
Your album features animatronic from Scissor Sisters, who we love as well.
How much do I love Anna?
She's brilliant.
Yeah, she really is. I was just saying to someone the other day, if we ever had a girl in the band, it would be Anna. Absolutely adore her. She's so funny, bright, full of energy, stylish, and mad.
Yeah,
in a beautiful way.
I think it's a good combination. It certainly works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was our first choice. We'd worked with the Scissor Sisters before.
Yeah.
They actually supported us on the UK tour, I think it was 2004, when they were just breaking out. And it was an exciting time, because to see a band that are so hot and that really are on their way and just exploding everywhere was great.
And they push boundaries. I think that's what you've always done as well as a band.
We always try. I mean, that's what drives us. That's what we're interested in, is doing something differently and trying to find something interesting, using new technologies, working with different people. Yeah, they're definitely like that. I really, really love the band, and particularly Anna, who I spent quite a bit of time with on our British tour, and so happy she was able to do the track.
And Khalees as well. Khalees is on the album too.
Yeah, well, that one, Anna, we did have a relationship with. Khalees, I met very early on. I did a TV show with her. I think it was the Joe Wiley show here in London.
Yeah.
And she had her first single out, and she had a real energy and an attitude and, again, style. And I knew then that she was going to be something special. And I've watched her career since, through all the things, through Trick Me and Milkshake, and then the album she just did with David Guetta, and she's really again a completely unique artist, and we needed someone for The Man Who Stole a Leopard almost to play a part, and it had to be somebody who could pull off that character with attitude and also someone with a beautiful voice. So she was our first choice, and we weren't sure whether she'd be up for it because, again, it was very unlike much of the stuff she's done before. But actually, she loved it and delivered 100%.
I've got a few questions here, Nick, that from the listeners. I think you're going to love these.
Go on then.
One of these is from Baron in Brighton for you. Where did you learn to pout? Because you do it so well. And I've got to agree with him.
I don't know. It just comes naturally when you see yourself in photographs and you think, if only I'd sort of sucked my cheeks in a little more.
Yeah.
It looks so much better.
Also one here as well. I'm going to keep it anonymous for the time being and then tell you, not going to spoil the surprise. Do you remember supporting Hazel O'Connor in Cardiff in 1981 and feeding hot dogs to two young Welsh lads in their camper van?
Crikey.
It's a long time ago.
I do remember playing. I don't know that I remember the hot dogs, but I definitely remember the Hazel O'Connor show.
Yeah.
In fact, was that the one where the ceiling collapsed? That venue in Cardiff, I want to say, was it the Sophia Hall or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely a problem with the roof, but I'm not sure whether that was our show or Hazel's show.
Well, that question comes from gay novelist Paul Burston.
Well, hello, Paul. I hope you enjoyed the hot dog.
Ben in Newcastle as well. When will your stage show, I like this one, feature a large windmill with all of you strapped to it to recreate the Wild Boys video? Because he's not going to see you until you do it.
Never.
Never.
But you
Let
can
him down
watch the
gently.
video, and we always get asked about Simon, whether he almost drowned when the windmill got stuck, which it did.
Yeah.
But he didn't almost drown because we had divers there, and there's all those safety precautions, regulations. But now, if you watch it on DVD and you pause it at the right time, you can drown him several times.
This is a good one, Peter in Manchester. My Own Way, did you ever get it? Very clever question.
But it's rare that I don't, actually.
Yeah.
But,
Probably the pouting, isn't it, that does that?
Yeah. Well, the video for that, we tried to put sort of US disco strings, I remember, on the first version that was the single. And then afterwards we decided we didn't really like it as much, so we changed that for the album. And it's one of the few songs we very rarely play live because I think probably the lyric, we're not sure that it stood the test of time as well as some of the other things, but yes.
That's quite nice, though, in some ways.
Our own way.
Yeah, I think it's good to go back to how it was sometimes, even though you're obviously doing the new stuff now
the
as well.
Disco strings, maybe
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah.
Take a look. We're talking about using some strings actually on the tour.
Do you get much attention from gay guys yourselves? Because obviously you're a big hit with the girls in the 80s, as well as the guys.
We've always had a pretty substantial gay audience, no question about it. And we're thrilled to have that. I think they dress up more, make things more exciting, often look more chic, always out to have a good time. And so all of that works for us. I mean, no doubt. We get gay guys and gay girls.
You've been going for over 30 years. I don't want to talk about the time too much because that could be quite maudlin. But it's obviously, you're obviously a band with longevity. Are you enjoying it more now?
Yeah, we've always enjoyed it. I mean, obviously there's been ups and downs throughout, but what we've been very lucky with is being able to do whatever we like, whenever we like, and you can't really ask for more than that. We've worked with a lot of really interesting people, collaborated with lots of fashion designers, artists, photographers, filmmakers, other musicians. You know, that's really what keeps us going, is wanting to do something new and to keep trying out things. Even this album, I think, is radically different than anything we've done for a long time. Certainly things like the Man Who Stole a Leopard. It's the first time we've ever written a song like that. And having Khalees on it and Owen Pallett from Arcade Fire. Well, we keep moving forward. I'm not watching the clock.
And can we talk about the single as well, Girl Panic, before we finish? Because obviously this is, I mean, lyrically, well, the title itself, it sounds like the sort of thing that I would have come up with being a gay man growing up. If I have to be completely honest.
Days when John and I were coming up with it, it was, we almost wanted it to be a headline in Italian Vogue.
Yeah.
You know, a Girl Panic with a big exclamation mark after it, or maybe a Russ Meyer movie or something. It's just that idea. It could relate to anyone, really. It's just that idea of when you go out and you see someone across a room and your heart starts beating a little faster, and then you're not quite sure how you're going to deal with it and what's going to become of it in a Girl Panic.
Yeah, fabulous. Well, I love the single and I love the album. Nick, it's been such a pleasure to chat to you.
My pleasure, Phil.